Hey y'all, welcome to my channel, to Demeter Finds Her Way. I um I am not usually one for revisionist history. I was raised here in the Deep South. My family has been in the United States since the middle 1600s, so very early in the formation of the United States, before we were ever a country. Um, I am not, however, um, interested in cleaning up the truth. Okay. Um, there is a statue on the State House grounds of the state of South Carolina, over by the Capitol, that just bothers me to no end. It just, I am not one to generally advocate taking down statuary unless there is a good reason. However, there is a statue to J. Marion Sims, who is so-called father of modern gynecology. I don't have a problem with that. He did pioneer surgical procedures that made a big difference in a lot of women's lives. And there are maternal injuries that we still treat based on some of the techniques that he developed. However, as a researcher and hopefully as a human being, um, the end does not justify the means. Celebrating the end has to be measured with how he did his research. So he was born in South Carolina, went to started medical school here in South Carolina, finished in Pennsylvania, and then went to Alabama, where he became a plantation doctor. So part of his job was to provide medical care for the enslaved peoples around Montgomery. One of the problems that women would have would be birth injuries that would result in an opening from their bladder to the outside, and they would constantly leak urine. It was just a terrible thing. There was no way to fix it. Um, he developed techniques to do the repair by doing surgery on enslaved women. They didn't have a choice. Although this is a terrible problem, people became completely ostracized from society. Um, he had up to 15 women at a hospital in his backyard that he was taking care of, supposedly. Um, one of these women endured 30 surgical procedures in 3 years with no anesthesia, no pain medicine except after surgery. So during the surgery, these women were basically forced to hold each other down to have these surgical procedures. The women had no right to say no. They were enslaved. Their bodies were not their own. Um, Only one of the 15 women is said to have had any progress, any resolution of her problem. Generally, this is not the way that research should be done. And there have been all sorts of people who said, um, anesthesia wasn't that far developed in the very late 1850s. It can't be expected. The culture was a different time. The truth is that human beings now, we look back on other things in history and have said, no, that wasn't acceptable then. We should be able to look 150 years back and say, that's not acceptable then either. It's not acceptable to leave someone in pain. because of the color of their skin. That's not okay. And it bothers me that we are celebrating this man on the State House grounds of South Carolina for torturing enslaved women. We wonder why the minority communities in our nation don't trust researchers. This goes way back. We've used enslaved bodies and enslaved spirits for medical research, random stuff. And we wonder why they don't trust us. We wonder why they are hesitant to take the COVID vaccine. I don't blame them. But I think as a woman and as a member of a research community, because I am trained as a researcher, the idea that someone can't refuse, can't drop out, and the idea of experimenting on vulnerable people to only benefit the elite is absolutely something that we would not tolerate today. And so while we should celebrate the women who found relief, we should also celebrate and honor the women with whose bodies he made these discoveries. If I knew how to go about it, I would begin petitioning for that statue to come down. In South Carolina, it is very difficult to get rid of monuments. If it's on public ground at all, whether it's state property, federal property, city property, if it's on public land of any sort, the General Assembly of the state has to vote for it to come down. That's not likely going to happen. The political climate just isn't there. So, but if I knew who to go to, who to talk to, I think there are other South Carolinians who would be better models and better examples of the variety of heroes, the variety of scientists, performers, people who have influenced American culture and South Carolina culture in positive ways. I think there are better ways we can use that beautiful corner of the State House grounds there at the corner of Assembly and Gervais than honoring this man whose fame and whose wealth came because of torture, what we would consider torture of enslaved women. So, I said when I started this channel, we would talk about all sorts of stuff. And I've talked about makeup a couple of times, so you guys kind of have to listen to my rant on this one. So hopefully, just talking about this, just thinking about these things, as Americans, as South Carolinians, Georgians, people of all different areas of our country, and really people all over the globe, we have to decide what we want to celebrate, what we want people to remember. How much of the end is justified by the means? What is it that we should celebrate? So I think some of these things are really important to have. So please put your comments, what you think in the comments. If you know how to go about who we need to talk to get that thing taken down, let me know. I would be more than happy to go down to the State House and plead our case. So, thank you very much for your attention and your time, and I will see y'all next time.